you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your journey.
Absolutely. Good morning, Jeffy. My name is Patricia Tarquino. You're welcome to call me Patricia or Patty, or whatever you're able to negotiate. I am from Cali, Colombia. I'm an immigrant to the United States. Part of my immigration journey or environmental justice journey begins before I was even born. The United States has had a lot of influence in my country. I don't know if you know much about Colombia, but we've been in a civil war for more than 60 years. And we came to this country under the understanding that we wanted a better life, right? That the United States was the land of opportunity. But we realized that we were absent from that dream. We left our country, we were uprooted, and came here where we had to learn the culture, learn the language, many systems, without fertile soil, honestly. So it was jarring, right? I was very young. I was about 8 years old when I came to the United States, and I had to grapple with the idea of leaving all I knew, to start over here. I grew up in the South. I grew up in South Florida. My mom got married, and we moved to East Tennessee, which was another interesting milestone in my journey. In the United States, in Colombia, thinking of the United States, we had a picture of everybody was, white, blue-eyed, lived in Disneyland, and we quickly learned that wasn't the case. When I moved to East Tennessee, to Appalachia, it was the first time that I saw poor white people. And it made me question a lot of things. When I was in Florida, growing up in Florida, I equated poverty with my immigration status or my skin color, right? I didn't see a lot of people successful, wealthy. A lot of the homes that we cleaned, they were owned by older white people. It was like, how am I ever gonna achieve, even if I start now, achieve that type of success? But when I got to East Tennessee, I saw poor white people, poorer than what we started with. And it made me question, why are these folks on the margins? What's going on? How can, in America, in North America, in the land of opportunity, how can there be poor white people here? I excelled in school, and I got a chance to go to Berea College. And at Berea, I learned about organizing. I learned about a lot of the influences historically that have shown up in my own life. I became a community organizer in Appalachia, and I was working for an organization that was bringing an end to mountaintop removal mining. And mountaintop removal mining is where you clear cut the trees, you remove the dirt, you explode the bedrock to expose the coal seams. And all of that is pushed into the head of the streams in Appalachia. So you've heard of the Cumberland River, right? Here in Nashville. The headwaters of that river starts in East Tennessee in Whitesburg, Kentucky, in Letcher County, Kentucky, where I was working at. So all these connections around extraction, around environmental injustice, were coming together in my own life experience. I was in Kentucky for about 10 years, and I was an organizer for about 7. Right around my early 30s, I realized I don't see myself in the community that I live in and work in, and I wanted to see a reflection of myself. So I came to Nashville. My husband is from Nashville. He's from Antioch, and we started a family. I wanted to learn how to make baby food. I wanted to share with my new family, my growing family, my culture. And the best way to do that is through sharing and growing our native foods. And so that's how I learned about the Nashville Food Project. They have a farm in Antioch, and during the pandemic, I started growing food, baked butternut squash to make baby food out of. And not only did that help me share, food with my family and my culture, it also helped me a lot to reconnect with the land, specifically the land, to ground my hands and feet with the earth. I had just had a baby, and I was experiencing postpartum depression, and being outside in green spaces was so healing. It taught me so many things about the growth cycle, about patience, about nurturing myself. That's part of my journey.
Because I like going outside as well, right? And sometimes when I go outside, or when I used to go outside, I used to see a lot of trash out there. And we wanted to do something about that, right? So just as in the story with Judah and his friends, me and my friends, what we did is we started an organization called Recycle, Reinvest, because we wanted to be good stewards of the earth and clean up our neighborhood, but also do other cool things like recycling, gardening, planting trees. How many of you all, when you go outside, like to be in the garden?
I'm gonna translate just a little bit. Entonces, Jaffe dijo que cuando él pensó en escribir este libro, él con sus amigos querían hacer algo por su vecindario y por la madre tierra, el mundo también. Entonces empezaron una organización que se llama Recycle and Reinvest, para poder hacer algo en su comunidad y en su ciudad para la madre tierra. ¿Quién le gusta estar afuera en el jardín?
Why is it important to be inclusive, whether it be in work, collaboration in community, or just in general?
That's a great question, Jaffe. And sometimes the word inclusive gives you the warms and fuzzies, like everybody. But it's not including for the purpose of having everyone on the same page or with the same experience. I see the process of inclusion, it's a little messy sometimes. It's including folks with different perspectives and still inside that parameter, that boundary of figuring it out together. It's a process. Inclusivity and in my brain, inclusivity and representation are very similar. We want to have different perspectives, different hues, different
Practices,
different walks of life. in this process, in this journey, that's not always harmonious, but inclusion is respect for different perspectives. Inclusion is empowerment. It's feeling confident that despite our perspective, we are in this together. Inclusion, in it together, for me.
Él se sentía muy bien por poder ayudar el medio ambiente. Y él dijo, mire, si nadie me va a poner atención, yo solito voy a hacer algo para salvar la tierra. Entonces, él empezó a investigar muchas formas de poder reducir, reusar y reciclar para poder salvar la madre tierra. Ahora, él dijo, yo puedo reusar los marcadores y hacer una cuerda para saltar.
Judah gets on his computer and finds a ton of clever ways to reduce his trash. Reuse old and spent items and recycle what he finds on the ground. I can turn used tobacco wrappers into a fruit bowl. I can even turn an empty chip bag into a mommy purse. Judah turns his passion into an art project too. I can grow an egg carton tree, he says, and gets to work on his school project. He cuts up the old egg carton, paints it green, and glues it on a piece of paper to make it a tree. He even learns how to raise a rainbow made out of a bottle lid. He puts it in his neighborhood and brightens his neighbor's day. So now, some of that trash that he found, and some of the trash he finds, he cleans it off, and he makes art out of it. So he's making jump rope, he's making Christmas trees with his mom.
What does having access to green spaces in urban communities mean to you?
It means a lot. Having access to green spaces is so important. I did an internship in New York one year when I was in college, and it was the first time that I was physically itching for green spaces. For the mountains, for the connection with soil, with the humidity, right? It's so important for our well-being, for our mental health, to be in relation and in communion with nature. It calms our brains down. It calms us down. It's important for us to be able to move our bodies. We were not designed to sit still. We just weren't. Our bodies are made for motion, and we need to run and skip and do cartwheels in the soft earth. We need it for exercise. We need it for everything.
What is one action you will take or want to take to help care for the earth in your daily life?
That's a great question. My parents are getting older, and my kids are getting bigger. I really want to turn my space, my living space, and use it to its capacity, right? I have a small yard, but I want to plant local food trees. I want to use my basement into a root cellar. I want to grow as much food as I can possibly, to allow myself to be outside, to feed myself, for that, that footprint and that the distance between my food being grown and me consuming it to be shorter. I want to be able to be more sustaining for me and my family. I want to be able to have my parents help me with that as well. So that's what I want to do. Jaffe, I have so many ideas. You know, I want to get a hoop house in my backyard. I want to, you know, get a chicken or two. You know, we live in a subdivision. You know, we live in suburbia, but I feel like getting involved with my HOA, getting involved with like the city to really push for free agricultural water and for changing the rules with the HOA to allow us to grow food instead of grass and lawns. You know, those are the kind of things I want to do because we need to.
Can you repeat your name again and let the people know why you support Earth Day in the Hood?
Yeah, my name is Patricia Tarquino. I support Earth Day in the Hood because honestly it's the most authentic celebration of Earth in our communities. And I support Recycle Reinvest.
That's great.